Basically, what I'm trying to say is I really had a conversation with my daughter, basically telling her things that were completely wrong, and I should have never told her anything along the lines of, like, just negative about anything that she could possibly do in her future. As many of you know, because I have some people who actually watch my videos and are friends with me in real life, I am a life insurance agent. I am heavily in the financial realm. I have a few books I wrote and am currently writing. I have a course that I am going to drop very soon. So I do a lot of things basically when it comes to finances, and I meet a lot of people that are in the financial world. And the more that I meet, like, older people, like very much mature, wise people in business, they always talk about just taking classes. And like I said, at one point in time, I was so against it because I'm like, school is a scam. It's a waste of my time. Here I am, almost 30 years old, right? I dropped out again. What was I, 17, 18, I dropped out of school. And now I'm almost 30. I dropped out of school 11 years ago. If I had this mindset that I have now, 11 years ago, I would have had a PhD right now. If I would have knew the benefits of going to school for a certain thing. Now, not all things in school you should go for, because a lot of those things is a waste of time. But if I knew basically how to, go to school, get good grades, to pay off my schooling, so I don't have to worry about student loan debt, so I don't have to worry about getting sucked into the scheme and the scam of the student loans, I would have been cool. And as I sit and think about the example that I'm setting for my children, so another thing that I'm starting to heavily think about is, what example am I setting for my kids? Because I know growing up, I never had people around me that were successful. So I never saw what it was like to actually be successful in something. So when I look at myself, my oldest, she knows I dropped out because I told her. She knows that I don't have a college education. She knows I've never been married. She knows all of these things. And I know my younger children know it as well. So what example am I setting for my kids? These are sometimes really tough conversations we got to have with ourselves, because nobody wants to purposely make themselves feel like shit. Like, you don't want to make yourself feel like you're just fucking up. You don't want to do that. But when you really take time to sit down and say, okay, I have these children, am I setting a good example for my kids? But I want my kids to do what I'm doing. Don't get me wrong. I do have a really solid plan as far as my business is. I know what I want, And those things could work out for me. But the one thing that I'm noticing is this. In order to have the conversations that needs to be had, in order to sit in a room with certain people that you need to sit with, you have to have some type of, I don't really want to say degree, I'll just say some type of experience, some type of experience with something that holds weight around certain people. And because my goals are so big, I can't go to the type of people who I want to put myself around being just basic like this. Don't get it mixed up and confused. I love myself, so I ain't trying to make it seem like I need to change to be accepted. Nah, I'm being real. To really, get where you want to get to, you have to have something of value in order to sit with valuable people. And that's what I want to teach my kids, because even if I never ended up, going in the direction that I kind of want to go now, and I just end up doing the bare minimum, just making enough and establishing myself enough to be able to provide for my children comfortably, I want my kids to understand, it's so much in this world that you can achieve. Don't ever let nobody limit you. It's so much stuff you can achieve. And I want my kids to know, go for it. Go for anything that you want to go for. Dream big and aim high. If you want to go be a doctor, be a doctor. If you want to start a multi-million-dollar business, do that. But always aim high, never settle. It's too much stuff in this world to explore for you to stay mediocre and basic. My kids to know, I want them to sit with the top people. I want them to do so good in school and feel that good feeling that people must get when they get straight A's and they get on the dean's list and they just getting accepted to schools, and they're just looked at differently. They're looked at as high value opposed to being looked at as a statistic. And many people will listen to this message and look at my video and say, well, you shouldn't feel like material things and this matters. No, I'm speaking from real life, okay? People like to live in fairy tale dream worlds. It is what it is. In order for you to comfortably live in this world, you have to be viable. You have to matter to the higher ups. And if you don't, you will be at the bottom of the food chain. And I don't want my children to grow up in a world where they don't have anything. I ain't never have an A on my report card. Not once in my life. I ain't never go to school and do good and get looked at like I'm a good child. I always got looked at like I'm a problem child, like I'm slow, I'm retarded, I'm not nothing. I always got looked at like that because I didn't have the confidence. I didn't have the right people around me pushing me. I just lived in a home where nobody cared about nothing. Everybody was just trying to survive. I don't want that for my kids. I want my kids to grow up and be able to put themselves in rooms where, like I said, people value them and their time and their energy.